All right, welcome back to episode 19 of Earn Your Couch. My name is Coleman, and this is my big brother Jacob, as you all know here. And if you're new, we're two brothers just trying to figure it out and earn the right to sit on the couch at the end of the day by feeling good about what we're doing in life. And so we're on episode 19 now, which is awesome.
19 is kind of a irrelevant number in most of life, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't know many
I
professional
mean,
sport
when you
athletes.
turn 19, there's you don't get anything. 18's a big year, and then 19's kind of like whatever.
Yeah, now you're just like, okay, I'm 2 years away from being 21, that's cool. And then 20's cool though, 20's a cool number. You got the
20's
2,
cool.
you
Like,
got the
you're in
O,
your 20s.
and you're like, "Oh, only one more year till I'm 21, then I'm really an adult." And then you turn 21, you're like, "I'm not an adult at all, actually, I'm still figuring everything out." And then you turn 25 and you're like, "It's the same thing." When do you actually feel you're 27, do you actually feel like you're now an adult? Is that something you feel?
Yes and no.
Yeah.
I would say more often than not, I feel, or more often than I used to, I feel like I've got some. I do mature things. A lot of my days spent working. A lot of my days spent taking care of the things that other people would normally do, when you're growing up. So I feel like in that sense I'm an adult, but I also really want to retain my play. And so I was working the other I was working the other day, and as you know, I'm a little bit of like a person who's a jukebox. Like, songs come to my head and then I just kind of belt them out or sing them, and then a situation happens and it's almost like quoting. Uh, but the other day, I was like giving out like a at the end of a call because just some shit went down and I just needed to let something out, and it turned into going "Da tabanya barabiti baro." I don't know what the actual words are, but that just turned into me doing that all day. And so I'd like hop on a call and they'd be like, "Hey Jacob, how's it going?" I would go "Da tabanya." I just feel like it's so
No,
am I an
you don't feel
adult?
like an adult is what you're trying to
Am
say.
I an adult? Sometimes, most of the time. I would imagine you talk to a lot of people who are elderly and they still feel like they're kids. Their mind is still that of when they're in their low 20s or when they were in their youth. I'd be curious to see how it actually evolves over time.
Last week we were at our friend's birthday dinner, and their neighbors were over there, and the dad, like her friend's like neighbor, right? The dad like walks in and he's like, "I feel like I'm a 26-year-old in a 52-man-year-old's body. I still feel like I got it." I think I get what he means because that's kind of like where I'm at my age.
Yeah.
I do got it. I do. Just walks in, he's like, "You guys don't understand. Once you hit 26, you never grow mentally older than 26."
Yeah, it's interesting because like when you're down here, quote, you look up and you're like, "Oh, they have so much shit figured out." And when you're a kid, my parents have so much figured out. And when you're in high school, the seniors have so much figured out. And when you're in college and as a freshman, the seniors have so much figured out. And then when you graduate, all these people have so much. No one has it all figured out. Some people just have more things figured out, or at least a good idea of how they think it works, and that they kind of have these core beliefs that you live by. And I even feel like that has been maybe the more of the shift. Not that I've become less of a child, but I've become like more solidified in what I believe to be the right way for me to live, or the right way for me to approach my day. Within those confines, though, I still feel like a child. But I just know that there's some things that are in my control and there's some things that are out of my control. And the whole time, I just want to enjoy and I want to have fun. And so, how do I have fun? And I think that's like the childlike play
It's
while I'm doing an adult's job.
right. It's something that you've realized as you continue to go week by week or year by year for that matter, right? Talking about episode 19, 19 seems irrelevant. Like, but when you were at 19, you're like, I'm at the next level, right? I'm in, what is
Mhm.
that? You're probably in your first year of college
Freshman
at that
year.
point. like, I'm in
Yeah.
the next level of life, right? And then you get to 22 and you start a full-time job and you're all, I'm at the next, this has to be it. I must have beat the levels, right? And then you're like, oh, I feel like I just kind of went and restarted everything. Now I'm at the very bottom again, right? And then you just keep progressing, 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 and it's just a bunch of levels. Like you're just it's like in a video game when you pass like level 15 and I don't have to deal with it anymore, but I take what the experiences I've learned from it and apply it to the next level, you know what I mean? And that's kind of what this is.
That's all it is.
This is what it is. And so now we're just trying to figure out how do we pass the next level and get through it to feel good, to feel positive and all these things. And I think part of that kind of leads us to our episode today, which is going to be a little bit different than previous episodes where we kind of talk in a more natural conversation with what we're dealing with, but more so of we're going to prompt this episode with two things. One of those things is both of us are going to talk about something that we've been struggling with the last couple of weeks, the last month, the recent thing we've been struggling with. And then we're also going to both talk about what we've actually been proud of, what we've been feeling good about over the last couple of weeks or the last month. Um, and so, with that being said, let's start. I want to start with what we're both struggling with. And everybody's constantly struggling with everything. This isn't the only things we're struggling with, but this is something that we can kind of discuss and figure out how can we improve what we're struggling with, right? So with that being said, what are you the last couple of weeks, what have you currently kind of been struggling with when it comes to it doesn't have to be work, it can be anything, right?
Yeah, it's an interesting, answering this was a dilemma for me because there's a bit of a double-edged sword with what I feel like my struggle and what I'm proud of. Like, they kinda go hand in hand. But if I were to boil it down, some things that I've learned this year is that when I am in a state of stress, my personality type is that I go to a perfectionist mode. And it's a good thing because when the going gets tough, like the tough get going kind of vibe, where, at work it's stressful or things are going wrong or not according to plan or there's change that needs to happen or whatever, as opposed to like just shutting down, which does happen to me, but more often than not, my brain goes to how do I take action? What's in my control? How do I get things off of my plate so that thing like momentum continues to be maintained? But that also will lead me to this like perfectionist cycle where what I'm working on like almost gets redone multiple times because I'm like, I could do this in a better way, or I can set this up better, or basically putting the pressure on myself to like have the right answer.
Hmm.
And I actually got feedback. We had like a feedback session at work with our team, and my director was saying you need to be okay with things not being correct all the time or not knowing if they're correct because you're not going to always have the right answer.
Yeah.
And sometimes it takes time to shake out what the right answer is or what the right way to go about something is. And it's not all on me to figure out. There's team and there's the other party that we're working with. And so I think that personally, like, I was a good student growing up, good grades. There was always an answer. And then when you get to the real world, you realize that there aren't always, the answer is C. The answer is could be C or it could be B or it could be D or maybe it's a combo of C and D. And actually tomorrow some new factor gets, put into play and the answer was C, but now the answer actually should be D. And so being okay with that volatility and that potential for change is a struggle for me. And the project that we're on is kind of going through a resetting of expectations and resetting of timelines and scope. And so there's all these considerations and all types of stakeholders, both on at our company and at the client's company. And so these are good changes overall, long term, but it's high stress now. And so I think I feel vulnerable when I don't have the answer, which leads me to stressing out. And I don't feel like I'm not sitting there like, oh, I'm stressed out. But then I realize I've been working on the same thing for like an hour. And I'm like, this probably should be like a 10-minute thing.
Is
But
this do you think this is something you've been have you always felt this way when it comes to, projects in the past when it past previous work experiences, previous project experiences in school back in the day? Or is this something that's come up because of the big projects now that are happening with the high end responsibility that you have at the workplace?
No, I think this is it's the light is being shined on it right now because I've been in a like self-reflection mode and, like intrapersonal analysis, trying to figure out how I tick, why I tick, and kind of figuring out that my personality type goes to perfectionism in a state of stress. I really kind of worked through when I was working with the life coach. And so that kind of I'm now quicker to realize it. I'm like, "Oh, I've been just kind of spinning my wheels on this thing, and maybe the best thing for me to is actually to take a break and to move on from it and to be okay with it not being completed." Sometimes it's got to be completed, right? But there's times when you can take a break. But once I've realized this, I'm now able to go back and see that pattern when I was at Intersect and when I was at Protivity, and I think part of it is just I pride myself on a as an executor, as someone who gets shit done and who gets shit done at a high level. And when I can't do that or I don't know how to do that for the problem that I'm solving, that really bothers me, which often sends me into a mode of taking action and figuring shit out and learning. And it's one of the reasons why, the pressure is a privilege is because of the growth that comes out of it. But it's also caused me to not start things. And it's also caused me to not take action because I don't know the right way to take action. At work, it's easy because I'm like, I'm going to talk to someone about this tomorrow, so I need to figure this out. But on like personal projects, I don't know how to do something and I don't know the exact right answer, and it's pressure and it's time and it's effort. Then maybe I don't take the action because I don't know the perfect way to do it yet. And I know in my head, don't let perfection get in the way of progress. 80% great is better than 100% perfect, but it's still that internal, I don't recognize it until I almost like an observer of the situation at hand. And there's that idea of like, if there's like a documentary crew following you around, this is like for your habits, but same thing for just your behaviors. Like if there was someone just watching me work, like would they have told me 30 minutes ago hey, you should probably take a break and make a meal or go for a walk or close the computer and work on this tomorrow. So I'm trying to recognize that better, but I had that feedback from my director. And so I think it's important from like a leadership perspective to, for her name is Bree, to recognize that in me and to express that, because I do put a lot of pressure on myself to perform and to show up for my company and show up for my customer and show up for myself. And so I'm not failing if it's not perfect. I think I'm failing if I burn out, right? If I quit, I burn. That's the failure. And I'm not close to that point, but that pattern untamed could potentially lead to that. So that's kind of the thing I'm struggling with. I think it's a good struggle to have. It's not one of finding motivation. It's one of taming effort and really being kind of cutthroat with where I'm spending my time. Like, am I just spinning my wheels on this thing for an hour because I don't know how to do it or because I really need to do it?
You say it stresses you out, and you're known to not get stressed super easily as a person compared to a lot of people. So like when you say it stresses you out or it gives you anxiety, like what do you actually mean by that? How do you actually feel yourself when you are dealing with, oh, I'm working so long on this to perfect it and it's frustrating me? Like what does that stress actually feel like for you?
That's another thing that I've learned is that I don't think I'm not a stressed person. I think I have a lot of coping mechanisms with the stress. And to the point that I made 5 minutes ago, the stress often does not result in me like ruminating and not doing anything. Like I think a lot of people get stressed out and then there's like it causes people to like lock up and freeze and not try because they're like, I don't know how to do it. I'm kind of the opposite problem where when I get stressed about it, then my brain just won't shut off. And so it it takes me out of like the present moment when I have the opportunity to be in the present moment. I notice like if I go to the gym after work and I'm not really thinking about my workout and I'm just thinking about the message that I sent before I left and has someone responded to it yet? Or the email that I sent out, or if I'm waiting for responses to something, have they responded yet? Or I'll think of just a note that I need to like, oh, I should do that when I get back. And so I think the stress is something that just brings me, it adds cognitive load to my brain when when it shouldn't be there. When my brain should get lighter and free, it remains heavy. And that's where I experience the stress. And so when I said I don't, it's not that I don't experience stress, but I respond to stress differently. And then a lot of times I have a bunch of stress relief mechanisms. And when I'm in a healthy place, that looks like a lot of workouts and a lot of runs and a lot of meditations and a lot of stretching and good habits. It'll lead me to um, hang out with friends and just like really kind of partying and unplugging, and then like I'm responding to my stress in that way. And so my stress response is, how do I kind of bring myself back to not thinking about work all the time? More often than not, I'm able to tame it, but there's definitely times when, even this past Friday, I worked until like 6:30 because we have a big week coming up, and I got to the gym after work and I was like, I can't stop thinking about this thing. And I don't like, it's Friday. It's Friday night. I need to stop thinking about this thing. How do I do that? And so I didn't put any pressure on the workout. I just like stretched and saunaed and just was like, I'm just going to try and just de-stimulate. I just like grinded for 11 hours straight, essentially. And it was a high mental effort, and next week is going to be crazy. Like, let's just lower the stress levels right now. How do I do that? And how do I destimulate? And even though I wasn't surrounded by people all day, I was on calls all day. My brain was like being used at 95% of its effort, the whole time. And that can be really hard to unplug. And so that's where I experience my stress. And that's the thing that's where I'm struggling, is kind of being okay with things aren't settled, because as I take on more responsibilities and I get higher up and I have more delegation, like there's gonna be more things that are out of my control and more things that aren't gonna be perfect all the time. And so being okay with that imperfection is my current struggle. But I've been talking in circles on this. I want to send it
Yeah.
over to you. What have you been working on?
Yeah, well, before I get into that, I get what you mean when you say you can't stop thinking about it. And that's something that I often struggle with when it comes to my anxiety and stress, is when there's something that hasn't been solved, I can't stop thinking about it until it gets solved. Um, and I really do struggle with that a lot. And the ways that I've been dealing with that are, one, talking it out. So like talking it out with Jill, and then two, writing it like writing down the fact that, hey, I can't stop thinking about this right now because I want it to get solved right now. I need to understand that it is okay that it does not get solved right now. For example, this week we had a leak in our house. Water was coming out of the light. And we're like, oh, that's not good, like out of the ceiling. And it was like 7 a.m. in the morning on Monday, and I'm all, I need to solve this right now. Like, this is not good. And I instantly stressed out about it. Jill instantly went, we'll solve it. We'll figure it out by the end of the day. Let's just, turn the water off. And it got solved. But for me, I'm like, I could not stop thinking about it all day, because I'm like, I know I know there's a problem, and I know it needs to get fixed, So that's something I've done now, is just talk through it and write it down, which it hasn't like solved like everything, but it does help cope it, I guess. Um, but
Yeah,
that's on
just
that.
sorry, yeah, to cut you off. I know you're about to do yours. I think the difference, because you give me credit all the time of like, you don't get stressed out, which I just debunked. Not true. But what I think is different is I feel pretty good about not stressing about the things that I feel are out of my control. The things that I've been talking about, and most of this has been extremely work oriented, is that I feel that these things are in my control if I just put my brain power to it a little bit further, a little bit more time, ask one more correct question, prompt Google or AI one more way, make one more phone call to the right person. Like, then I could show up tomorrow and be like, I did it. I figured it out. We know what we need to do. And so I think it's the recognition of like, okay, those things are in my control, but also there's things that are underlying within that decision that are out of my control right now. And it's okay. It's not going to be solved today. This isn't brain surgery. Like the answer doesn't need to happen in the next 10 hours. So that's to put a cap on it. That's where I would put the difference between my stress and your stress is that something out of your control might send you in a spiral more so than it does for me.
Yeah, I get that. Cool. Well,
What about you? What have you been struggling with?
the last week or so, I've been really struggling with, like, I feel like just getting sucked in by social media and, like, YouTube, and finding myself wasting time, and that time that was wasted, just you come away with, like, feeling anxious and kind of stressed out by it, and we've talked just how social media does that, especially with everything that went on Wednesday with, like, the whole Charlie Kirk situation and being sucked into the media for 3 days, which I normally don't try and get sucked into news media at all because it most of the time, it kinda just makes you feel anxious, and this week it for sure did, but personally felt like I wanted to be involved in it to, like, see what was going on because it was a very crazy time and crazy thing that happened, and so I just felt like I had a really, really bad relationship with media this week where I didn't have that control. I didn't have the brick on. I felt like I was on social media way longer than I normally am, and it just tired me out. It drained me out. It made me feel super heavy, anxious, like sad, depressed in a way, where the times I haven't been sucked in to social media, you get so much more time back. I felt like the week went by so fast, or the days went by so fast because it was like I go on there and it's just a bunch of really depressing and anxious pieces of media and sad pieces of media that is hard to honestly be constantly looking at. For me, I felt like I struggled with that control of not going on there and seeing
Hmm.
and being kind of sucked into it. And I think it just led me to be a little bit more of a stressed state where it's like, wow, it's scary what's going on. And then on top of that, like 9/11, so you're seeing stuff from the Charlie Kirk thing, you're seeing stuff from 9/11, and you're just on social media and you're like, I need to get off of this, you know? And so Friday, I I was so sucked in Wednesday and Thursday, and I was like, I just feel like I'm not productive today. I need to get off this. So I took basically all of Friday and told myself like, don't go on social media because you know it's going to be on there, and what you see that's going to be on there isn't going to be worth the time during the day. And so I took that off. I went off social media that day, and I was able to go take Daisy and Blue for like a 2-hour walk in the afternoon and enjoyed a really like nice day. And it was just good. It felt nice to do that because I really struggled with not being on it, you know?
Yeah.
And what comes with that is just the anxious feelings, the anxiety feelings. But I will say, it did on a more positive note, all of that happening just makes you a little bit more grateful, but a little bit more just like, hey, life is freaking short and appreciate the little things of it all. And so kind of not being on there on Friday, makes me realize like, oh, the little things. Like it's so nice the fact that I get to have my dogs right next to me while I work. Even though they can be kind of annoying sometimes when they're following me everywhere because they think they're gonna get fed, right? But like at the same time, you're like, I love that because life's short. And so I think this week that was my struggle. And it kind of the idea of being sucked into media kind of made me struggle in other places where it made me struggle mentally. My anxiety levels were a little bit higher. I wasn't as positive as I could be. I didn't feel as productive at work this week because I like to spend a lot of my free time when I'm not working, like learning and researching about what's going on in the marketing world and the AI world as it is ever so changing so that I can stay ahead of the game, right? And learn more. But I felt like this week, it was just I was so sucked in by the media that I wasn't as productive, and by the end of the week, you feel kind of, like, shitty about that. I wish I felt like I had more of a productive week, you know? Because it makes the weekend feel more in a way.
And it's like it's a twofold thing too, because it's the time that's sucked specifically. It's those 20 minutes that you're on it. But then there's also that lingering feeling of one, wanting to go back on it. And that's that dopamine spike of maybe the next time I open it, it's going to satisfy whatever urge that is. But then it's also, yeah, your brain is not in the now, it's in the worry state of what's going on in other parts of the world. And of course, it's good to be informed and understand that things happen and to make your own opinion about stuff. But do you feel like it went from I'm learning about like kind of live events going on to just consuming other people's opinions?
It exactly.
Yeah. As opposed to like intentionally being like, oh, what's happening right now? And like searching it, it just turned into, oh, let me open it up again and see who else has commented on this.
Yeah, or let me open it up and see basically what other videos are being created, like, who's saying what, who's commenting what, like, why is somebody blaming that person? Why are we doing this? Why are we doing that? Then feeding off of friends' things and stories going like, same thing, it's the same post, same post, same post. And I'm like, I'm on here for 5 minutes and the exact same post just popped up like for 5 minutes straight from people's stories. And then I'm thinking, why am I on here? Like at the end of the day, why am I on here? Like I'm wasting time. Like this isn't doing anything good for me. And then you feel like when you're just on reels, just scroll, 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 scroll. I feel like such a POS sometimes because I'm like, I'm getting fed the same information over and over again in different ways, and it's not doing anything really good for me. I mean, sure, there's some hilarious videos, and I love that. And there are some great sports stuff. And then there's people talking about Emeka Egbuka, and of course I'm going to stop and watch that because he is the man. But when I just keep watching the same similar videos and all the negative stuff that's happening, it doesn't create any really positive influence. It's more of a this is super sad. This is who's responsible. This is super sad. This is who's responsible. And it's like, I gotta stop and go read a book, you know? Like I gotta take a break. And so my struggle really was me feeling like I had to go on there to just continue to see what's going on and to continue to see who's saying what and to continue to just see what's going on social media with the specific events that were happening. And I just felt like that struggle of not being able to just sit back and go, I can look at it next week. I felt like I needed to every day look into it. And you don't need to, right? And so it was that struggle. And then that struggle creates just the lack of productivity or the lack of feeling productive. But I will say this, and this is where I'm going to transition. So the first part of this segment is what have we been struggling with? And the next part of this segment is going to be something we're feeling good about. Because as much as we talk about what we're struggling with and how that can feel kind of negative to talk about in a way, we also are doing good stuff at the same time. And for me, for one, I feel like I've been better about forcing myself to get out of the house because you and I both work from home. So you get it when I say this. And I'm sure if other people listening work from home too, they get it. It's really hard to feel like you're really going out and living life when you are working from home and living from home and then you're
Absolutely.
home for a week straight and that's what you've been doing and then you're like, "Oh man, I'm feeling kind of crazy in a way." And so I feel like I've been forcing myself to be like, I'm going to wake up this morning and take the girls for a walk and I'm going to drive. Instead of walk from the house, I'm going to drive somewhere to take them for a walk because that little like micro transition of driving, even like somewhere like 3 minutes away to the park to take them for a walk is like your brain understanding and noticing we're doing something that's non-routine in a way, right? Like it's different. Oh, we're doing something different. And so I've been good about that, where I've taken them and done that, and it's only for like a mile, but it's good because you're all great start to the day. It's also different, and that's been good. I've also feel like I'm way more, all right, yeah, let's go to the store because it's out of the house. I'm contributing to society. I came back, I went to the gym and then picked up some groceries from the store, came back home, and Jill was on like the little bike, our stationary bike at the house. She got back from work, and I set the things down and I go, I contributed to society today. And she's all like, what are you talking about? And I go, I went to the gym, paid my dues at the gym. Then I decided I'm going to go to the grocery store, pick up some groceries for us. Then I started taking out the groceries and like putting them in. And I'm all like, that's right. Like, look at me contributing to society. But like in all seriousness, it's more of those little things like forcing myself to go out of the house trying to, at least on a daily basis, whether that is go somewhere and pick up something from a store and go run an errand or go drive the dog somewhere new and take them, go pick up lunch
It's
outside of
it's
the house.
everything that you're saying is not like insane feat, right? It's going to the store, it's driving to go on a different walk. But when you are working at home, it's so easy to get into a cycle and to get into a routine and to be like, I don't need to go over there and I have a meeting in like 20 minutes. And so like, why would, all these. And so it is, I think like if like an alien was just listening to this podcast and they're like, why are they bragging about going to the store?
Right.
But they don't know our struggle. They don't know the
They don't
work
get
from
it.
home
They don't get it.
lifestyle. But this is my office. This is my podcast studio. This is my where I sit and take care of my personal stuff. I could sit here and there's a TV behind me. All of a sudden this space becomes very comfortable. Similar, even though it's comfortable, it's also kind of like a little prison. And you do really start to get disconnected. Like going to the gym is my time to be like, there are other people that exist. And going to, like for me, signing up and I have a weekly softball game now on Tuesdays. That has been huge just to mix it up and to start to form relationships with people that I didn't know before, to go play sports, to go play. Going back to the conversation earlier where you feel like you're still a kid. I step up to the plate like I've been swinging a baseball bat for the last 27 years. And I'm sitting there, I'm like taking hacks, like, whatever. I'm just like, whoo! And I realize I'm like, this is like swing number 19 since I was like 12.
But in your head, it feels like you've been doing this for years.
But I'm in there and I feel like, I'm like, yeah, I'm just fucking, of course I'm playing baseball. And I'm trying to do like backhand like stabs at shortstop, sling it across the diamond, and then it goes like 17 feet to the left. I'm like, oh right, I don't actually play this very often. But that's okay. Just side note, last week I hit an absolute barrel and
Yeah?
it felt so good.
Yeah?
Yeah. Yeah.
What'd you go? Like 3 for 4, 27 RBIs? Can you
No,
imagine having 27 RBIs off 3 hits? I don't think that's mathematically possible.
I'm usually like a 2 for 3, 2 for 4 guy. Ends up, you end up just popping out a lot
Yeah, yeah.
because there's 4 outfielders. So you gotta keep it low
You gotta find your
because
spots.
you
You
gotta
gotta
keep
find
it
your
low,
spots.
and you gotta honestly, the best way to do it is to hit ground balls because the field is so inconsistent in the bounces that you just like have a better chance of getting a double because it just like kind of skips weird.
Yeah, and you're fast. You can run.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
I could
We
turn on
were
a jet.
we were playing side note, we were at our friend's birthday, like, dinner last Saturday, and, we were at their house, and it was, like, 10:30 at night, and somebody brings out a football, and so I just start running routes. And her dad, Ken, I was telling you, remember Ken? I was telling you, yeah. They're the best people ever. They're so nice, so welcoming. And he just goes, "You got jets, Cole. You got jets. Like you're quick. You're really quick with it." Because I was running all these little routes, pretending that guy was, Jalen Waddle. Definitely said his name a few times. And then I had one catch that was like OBJ with like it was the football of like a Nerf like foam
Yeah,
football.
yeah.
OBJ didn't like, did you catch that? And I was like, of course I caught that. And I was like, gosh, thinking back, I wish I
Why
could
didn't I?
play football right now. Like I wish I could go play football every single week.
Wish I wasn't 5'5", 152.
Yeah, like, why?
Why am I not 6'5", 305 playing defensive end?
Like, gosh dang it. This is so much fun. People gonna do this for a living? God. But no, in all seriousness, that was super fun. But kind of like going back, like bringing it back here, because then I want to hear about what you've been, doing. Working from home, what a lot of people don't understand. And when I talk to a lot of people, they're like, oh, you work from home? That must be so nice. And it's like, yeah, it absolutely is nice. There's a lot of positive things about it. There really are. The not having to commute, not having to um like realistically pack a lunch every day, not having to go and wear like a suit every day to work. Like there's a lot of pros to working from home.
You have time. You get time.
You get time. And but what I found is you get time and I like there are days where I'll be at the computer for literally 7 hours getting up one time, just working and like being in like a state of flow where I'm working and like it's great to be in a work state of flow. It absolutely is. But then I feel like I'm losing out on the day to like go and like be outside and do like take advantage of being outside because then you get stuck into like 4 straight days of oh I'm working from 7 a.m. to like 4:30, 4:45, and you're all well, the day's over basically. And now you're trying to figure out, okay, am I making dinner? Am I getting errands done? Am I going upstairs to do anything for the Airbnb? Am I going to the grocery store? Like, am I going to go to the gym or are we going to go for a walk? There is opportunity from working from home sometimes where like you have a 2 hour, 3 hour gap of not having a meeting and you're all, oh, I can go for a walk and be out there or like go to the park, sit, sit at the park and read a book for 30 minutes. But working from home, you just kind of get sucked into working versus like when you're at an office, you get to work, but then you do feel like, oh, I'm excited to go take my break, like go for a walk, go
Yeah.
get lunch with people. When you're at
Yeah.
home, it's just like, well, I'm already here, like working. I might as well keep going, you know?
Yeah, or I can eat while I take the next meeting or whatever,
Hmm.
and then you end up I find that my for someone who likes to work out as much as I do, my nutrition during the week is bad, not in the sense of what I'm eating is bad, but the amount, the regularity, like, it's just you just kinda squeeze it in.
Yeah,
You just kinda fit it in, and you're
yeah.
like, "Yeah, I could eat that."
There's days I don't eat lunch.
There's days you don't eat, and then
Yeah,
you're like it's like 4 o'clock, and then you eat something, and then my workouts are worse because, like, I'm not fed, fueled properly.
or you're
So
hangry.
there's
I get hangry a lot. That's what Jill says, at least.
yeah,
Hangry.
and also, like, when you're at least for me, like, I have a big team that I could be working with. I have a fairly big, like, core team that I work with, and I have a lot of people that I work with on the client side. And so I'll have meetings from 9:30 to 12, and then, like, through those meetings, stuff comes up and like, "Hey, we should talk about this afterwards." And I'm like, "Yeah, I got a slot 12 to 12:30." And then someone else adds something out of the blue at 12:45 to 1, like a little check-in, and then you're like, "Okay, there goes there goes my whole hour. I guess I'll just eat this during the meeting that I'm now kind of leading as well." So,
Yeah.
"Hey, guys, sorry about that. I'm gonna be off camera for this one, so I'm gonna shove this food down my face."
There's some weeks where it's like Monday and I go, "Oh, I actually got kind of a lighter week in meetings this week." And then like Tuesday comes around and like 4 people booked on my calendar and then all of a
Yeah.
sudden it's like, "Oh, I guess I don't have time to eat lunch today." Like, "Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that's fine. Maybe next week." And then next week comes around, it's like, "No."
I do feel like my client is they're all in person, and they're very, like, religious about, "Hey, it's no meetings between 12 and 1."
That's nice. Yeah,
For them.
for them, yeah. Yeah. A lot of mine are East Coast, so like I go, yeah, noon is fine for me because it's 3 o'clock for them. And so like I kind of just sacrifice it. But I will say at least we get the opportunity to immediately go to the fridge, heat up leftovers, and then take it with us and eat it. But
I'm not complaining about it. It's the, it's a double-edged sword working from home because there are those benefits of being able to walk over to the fridge. I also, when I can, really try and take advantage because I feel like I'm almost doing my career a disservice by not being in person with people because I feel one of my skill sets is human interaction, and not everyone wants that. I personally enjoy it. I like calls because I like talking to people, but when I don't have calls, if I'm just here for a full afternoon, I'll try and be like, "Okay, I work from home, like, let's take advantage of this." And go work at a coffee shop or hit up another friend who works from home and then work together. We now have WeWork access, and so I can just go
Nice.
to like a day pass for a WeWork and be around people. I try to mix up my environments. I to your point of, a win is getting out of the house. If I don't have a ton of calls, especially customer calls, then I'll try and get out of my house and work from elsewhere
Yeah.
or do an hour workout and then work and then shower at the gym and then work from a coffee shop down by the beach and be like, because then I'm like, I'm making the most of working from home,
Right.
knowing that there's aspects of working in person that I would probably benefit from, but I don't get. And so
I wish I could do that.
I'm not just gonna be a hermit because I work from home.
Yeah. And that's what I'm
And as long as
trying, that's
my
what I feel like I've been better at, is trying not to be a hermit. But exactly what you're saying, I'm meeting with people every day, and then that's anywhere from, like, 4 to 7 hours of my time. So, like,
and
being at a
it
coffee
feels a
shop
little disrespectful if you're like in a coffee shop
for
and
sure.
yeah,
You know what I mean? And so and
yeah.
then there's some days where it's, like, back to back to back on calls, right? So then you're, like, 3 hours in a coffee shop, hope nothing disturbs me or I don't disturb anyone, right? So but then
Hopefully you
there
don't
are
have those
days where you
freaking
get it.
Wi-Fi passwords that only last for an hour and you just gotta keep getting another one, but every time you get another one, they're making you drink another coffee, which means you're like 4 coffees in for an afternoon, and you're sitting there and you're going, "Why the fuck did I just drink 4 cups of coffee for 4 hours of Wi-Fi? I'm all jacked up."
You're like, "I'm not going to bed at 8, like, what am I doing?" No, yeah, it's true, and so anyways, but that's kinda what I've been struggling with. That's what I've been good at. What have you we could wrap this one up, and let's talk about what you've been feeling good at.
Yeah. I have felt what I wrote down, when we thought about these prompts originally was how I've been balancing the fun experiences that have come along with summer, weddings and camping trips and whatever, football games. I haven't said no to anything that I've really wanted to go to, which I'm extremely grateful for. Just having the opportunity and the ability to go do the things that I see as living, you know? So, amidst the chaos of a really big project and a lot of pressure and a lot of work to be done, I have been able to balance it with like the personal life. And as much as I am career oriented as an individual, I really do feel that to my core, I work to live. And so if I'm working to live but not living, then there's going to be there's an issue, at least internal, there's some internal misalignment. And so I've been really proud of myself for despite, like I said, the chaos, executing at a high level at work, but also building my relationships and doing cool experiences with friends and family. That's something I'm very proud of. And once again, I think it goes back to what I was saying earlier. Like a lot of people who get stressed out will just like shut down. And so like, I can't go to that thing because I have to do this or I need to say no to that because I have this tomorrow. I'm just kind of pedal to the metal, which sometimes leads me to a Sunday of really just plopping on the couch, but also that leads me to having 3-4 weeks straight of just doing everything that I want to do. And then the other thing that I would say that I'm proud of outside of work is uh I really, and we've talked about the phone a lot on this podcast, but I really feel like I've controlled my relationship with social media. It's awesome. I still post from time to time and I'll put a story on and I'll scroll and I'm a part of group messages. Like I don't feel like I'm not a part of it, but I really go on it when I'm like, I want to go on social media. Let me check Instagram is a thought that I have and then I go on it. Whereas before, what really pissed me off was that I was on it and I didn't even realize it. I was checking it and I was like, what is going on? That was 15 minutes and I don't remember a single thing that I just watched. I sent stuff out. I don't remember what I sent out. I probably sent you a Tim Robinson gif. I probably sent a football thing. I probably sent something funny that would make Henry laugh. But like, I don't really know. And I used to beat myself up a lot about that. Like at the urinal. Oh my God. Why am I on Instagram at the urinal?
Yeah, what are
Just,
you doing?
just pee.
I don't think I've
Just,
ever done that.
you've never checked your phone while you're at a urinal?
No. No,
You don't have,
I'm more of a get in, get out type of public bathroom guy, you know? Just go in, and get
Right.
out, you
That's what
know?
you should be doing. That's a
Right,
good way to do it.
right, it seems kinda right to me, yeah.
No, but, that's just an example of just, like, standing in line at Starbucks or
Yeah, no, I get what you mean.
you're at a stoplight and you're just like, "Well, let's just check Instagram." Like, just 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 drive.
That's so true though. When you're standing in line or you're waiting for your order or you're just walking down the street, like it's a habit that you have without realizing. Unconsciously, you're just like, and then you're all, you like open it up, you check, you're like, yep, nope, same thing as 2 minutes ago, no notifications. Put it back in. It's so interesting, and that is something that's cool that you feel like you have a good like, you do have kinda control over that because it's a struggle, obviously, something I just talked about.
It and it's not it's perfect. Like, Wednesday when that happened, I was on my phone more, but that mostly because I, like, dropped my barriers because, I was curious about the updates and what was going on, and I was part of group chats that were sending in things and whatever. But I give, no we do free ads for Brick on here all the time, but, like, I give a lot of credit to Brick. They've added a couple features recently. One, you can become bricked from anywhere. You don't have to tap the thing. You can just hold the thing down and then become bricked. But then to unbrick, you have to tap it. And so that allows me to do it without even like the barrier to become bricked is not me walking, it's just me holding the thing. And so that's huge. The other thing is that they added a schedule feature. And so I have it set up Monday through Friday at 8:30. It just automatically turns on.
That is nice. Yeah,
It's super nice. But the what I love about it is that I don't need it anymore to my time to recognition of, "Oh, I'm on Instagram," is so much shorter, or my time to realizing I'm on Instagram and I'm no longer receiving the benefits that I wanted, which was to laugh, to see a group chat, to see whatever. I'm just now I'm just using it because 'cause I'm bored, and so it's not perfect. I'll doom scroll, happens, but it used to be something that really irked me. I was just, like, pissed about the lack of control that I felt. I mean, I feel like I've really regained a lot of that control.
that's good.
So
That's good.
that is what I'll say I'm doing better at. And then from a phone, that was just kind of prompted because of what you said. But the last thing that I would say I'm proud of is I'm a very self-critical person. I hold myself to high standards. We talked about it during my struggles. But I've had a few moments over the past month or so of just like kind of taking a step back and being like, I'm proud of me for the way that I'm showing up and the way that I'm responding to adversity and the way that I can feel the trust that my leadership has in me. I can feel the confidence that my teammates have in me. And that is because I show the fuck up. And I take pride in my work and I want to be successful, not because I want to I want to be successful because I want this project to be successful, because I want this company to be successful, because and so it's not just like I don't feel like I'm just doing stuff for me. Like I feel like I'm a part of a bigger thing, which is a good feeling. And I'm grateful that I'm someone who I said the line earlier, but when the going gets tough, the tough get going. And there was a lot of times this summer where I was beating myself up for not getting going because I went on that trip and I went on that whatever, which is an interesting thing because now I'm like happy that I was able to do those things. And I think it's because in the moment I was stressed that, oh, if I do this thing, am I going to not be able to perform the way that I want to perform? But then retroactively looking at it and being like, I'm grateful I've been able to do everything and still feel pride in how I executed. And so I'm a very self-critical person, like I said. And so it's very easy to magnify the things that I'm not good at. It's very easy to magnify the things that I feel like I could be, um, I need to improve in. But like one of my favorite quotes from John Wooden, which is, imagine how much better life would be if you magnify the positives the way that you magnify the negatives. It's the same way that if, you post something and you have 9 positive comments and 1 negative comment, you focus on the negative one. Someone said, this is dumb, and now I feel sad. But you're just ignoring the 9 people who were shouting you out or that appreciated it. And so imagine if you magnified the 9 instead of the 1,
Yeah.
or if you magnify all of the meetings that you have that go really well. but you magnify the one that doesn't go well. And I think giving yourself grace in being human and imperfection is something that I'm struggling with, but also something that I've feel like I've gotten better at. It's just what it looks like and what I'm kind of focusing in on shifts and changes over time. And that's why I said at the beginning of this that I feel like it's a double-edged sword of what I'm struggling with and what I'm proud of. I struggle with wanting to do a really good job. And then when I don't have things in my control, or when I have things in my control and just letting it be imperfect is a challenge for me. But also I'm proud of the amount of learning and the amount of action and the amount of effort and the amount of approaching situations that are naturally tensious with I could just blow this up right now and just say, you fucking incompetent piece of shit. Like that's the mode I could get into. Instead, I show up with okay, I don't have control over everyone. Not everything is going to be perfect. We all have the same goal, which is to do a good job here. So how do we collaborate? What would I expect that person to do differently? What do I think we need to put in place in order for us to be more successful? What types of conversations do we need to have that aren't just pure logistics, but maybe more personal that could lead us to having a better working relationship, whether that's with a customer or with someone on your team? Those are the conversations of like taking the high road and being like, it's very easy for me to get emotional and to get really frustrated and get annoyed and then just to like let them know. But working from home, having that conversation over a computer is not the same as grabbing lunch with someone and expressing some things that you're frustrated with. So being intentional about how you're doing those things, being intentional about the conversations that you're having, being intentional about the way that you display information to someone, because you're not just displaying it the way that you want it. You need to display it in a way that they need to receive it. And so it's a paradox. It's a
I think
paradox.
one thing is we're constantly gonna be struggling with things, but with that being said, I think what's important here today that we talked about is also acknowledging the things that you're feeling good about, right? Because I, for one, struggle with things all the time. New things come up. I struggle with the same things kind of sometimes as I get better at them, and then I struggle with them again for some reason. It's an ongoing process, but to remind ourselves of like also the good things that we feel good about at this current state, because I might feel good about it right now, but in 2 months I might I might struggle again with getting out of the house, and I need to remind myself that when I do start struggling with it, to do the things that allow me to feel better about it. And so I liked this prompt today. I think it's cool to hear about similar things that we're dealing with in different ways. Like we're each struggling with similar things, but we're also struggling in different ways about them. And then we
Mhm.
also share that same experience when it comes to the working from home aspect, and also like what we both try and do to not struggle with that part of it. And so I think with that being said, we're going to wrap up episode 19 here. I think we both know what we need to do, which is just continue to have these conversations and be intentional about it, and continue to acknowledge the positives, like you said, as much as we acknowledge the negatives. So
Probably more.
probably
Ideally
more,
more.
probably more.
And that's what, and then, yeah, to your point, like you said, like one of the best ways to like kind of work through those stresses is to talk about it. And I think that's just one of the really helpful aspects of good friendships and good relationships is someone to say, Colt, you're focusing on this one thing, but you've completely ignored the video you got from your client that basically gave you all the props in the world and the people that are touting you. And to understand, like, yes, you don't have shit figured out because you're 24. That's okay. You're never going to feel like you have it all figured out. But looking back a year ago from when we started EYC to now, the conversations that we're having, the things that you've learned, the types of confidence that you feel, the changes that you've made to your body, all of these things you'd be super proud of. And if you just thought about that, there's no reason to be upset.
For sure.
Everything is going to work out.
Yeah. Yeah. And we're coming up on a year of EYC, which is pretty cool. I'm excited for that episode, do a little reflection and all that. But I agree 100%.
All right, man. Well, I know it's Sunday and there's some football to be watched, but I like this prompt.
Yeah. Nice work. All right, everybody, we're gonna wrap it up. And just once again, if you've made it this far, you're one of the true listeners. So thanks for tuning in and listening. And if you feel like you're struggling with similar things, feel free to comment below. Share this with a friend, and we'll see you on the next episode.